One thing that is common amongst a lot of young men that often isn't really discussed about is depression, but something alongside that depression that I guess it is much of the same, but I feel like it impacts or makes the depression feeling a lot worse is that loneliness feeling. Accompanied with this feeling of loneliness, a lot of men, myself included, I'm pretty sure it's safe to assume that as guys, we've all experienced this once, at least one time in our life, in the sunken place, and it just feels like we can't get out. And that feeling of loneliness, it might be that cycle of getting out of work, coming home, you don't really play video games as much as you used to, or you're not really into your hobby that you once spent a lot of time doing, and you feel like you're talking to the same people, or maybe you're just not talking to no one, because you don't have to have no one to talk to feel lonely. You can have the same 3 or 4 friends, your mom, your dad, maybe your grandma. You can have the same people in your life and still feel that feeling of just loneliness. And a lot of people actually they always try to substitute relationships with their loneliness. Now they'll get in the mindset of thinking, hey, maybe if I can find someone that likes me, or I can get into a relationship with somebody, maybe I might feel more happy and not have a sense of loneliness. And to be honest with you, that's not true whatsoever. How can you rely on somebody else to make you feel happy? That feeling of feeling happy and not lonely honestly comes down to you. What I mean is, you can take that feeling of loneliness and start getting into doing something new. I understand it's good to stick to a routine. My guidance counselor back in high school once shared a very crucial piece of information with me that I think almost every person, not even just man or young man, teenager, I think everyone needs to hear this. That a routine is good, but when you find yourself doing the same exact thing, your perception of time, next thing you know, 20 or 30 years is going to go by, and you're going to look back as you're, might be brushing your teeth, even though it's a good thing to keep in your routine. I'm not saying, personal hygiene is bad, but brushing your teeth, getting ready for work, the same job you've been working at for 5 to 10 years. And you're just like, dude, you're looking at the time that went by and you're just like, did I actually do anything enjoyable with my life? And it happens a lot. And to fix that sense of loneliness, you really need to improve on yourself more. Go out hiking, surround yourself in nature, honestly. Maybe find a new friend group if that's really what you're looking for, but at the same time, relying on other people to help you out when you're feeling lonely and depressed is not a very good thing to do, because then you start getting into the sense of relying on other people for certain things, like I said, for that sense of happiness and enjoyment. It's almost like how some people get the idea of, oh, I need to be drunk to enjoy this party, or I need to be high to be able to do, or stay focused on school. Or same thing with ADHD medicine. That's a whole nother topic in itself, where some people feel the need that because they have ADHD or they're labeled, because sometimes, I'm not going to lie, you might actually need the medication that you need, but sometimes all you really need is, some strict discipline and really getting used to and learning, getting adjusted with it. Like, for example, ADHD, more like getting used to working and coping with the fact that you have ADHD, and learning how to work with it instead of against it, and relying on medication relying on medication or to get certain things done, or in order to focus on a topic, because then you're mentally putting that it's like you're programming yourself to think, I'm only going to be able to focus hard enough, or I'm only going to be able to read this book in class for English if I take my ADHD medicine. So that goes with everything, like I said. So if you're lonely and you're thinking, man, I got to get a fucking girlfriend or some pussy to get out of the situation of loneliness that I'm feeling, that always does not happen. That's not always the case. I know personally, I know a couple people that think like that, or they'll get really overwhelmed because that sense of depression and loneliness, that mental emptiness that they've been feeling for so long, it gets rough, dude. It's like you're really fighting some strong demons. That's basically what it is. Like, you're sunken down so far, and you're just tired of it. You're tired of it all. And you're thinking, dude, maybe if I just find some girl that I like, maybe spend some time with her and do all that it's gonna change. Dude, that's not always the case. Who's to say you might get this girl And you might think, because you're so blinded by the fact that you were so lonely or that you were unhappy in the state of living that you were prior, that you might not pick up on the red flags that this person is giving out, that you know would be more be able to identify if you weren't consciously making yourself feel as if you need this other person to feel happy, you know. And it's sad that a lot of people really think like that, and that's really, like I said, it's very common amongst young men, especially around the ages of 16 to 24, 25, where, you know, that's honestly where a lot of the suicide rates come in too. That feeling of loneliness and that feeling of, you know, seeing people on social media and their life, maybe this, like, you know, for example, no shame to Andrew Tate, but certain people, like, I watched a video a while ago and I privated it. I might actually unprivate it. I watched a Chadfish Tinder video, and I realized that a lot of people like this DBDR guy, they might go out, not specifically him, right? I'm not throwing shade to any of these people. I respect all people of all crafts. I respect everybody. I just want everybody to be able to understand each other, and for people that really need the help to get the help, because that's all that's important. But like, there might be people with the mindset that watch a DBDR video and or they feel like how he feels when he, you know, is explaining and expressing himself, and they might go watch or see people like Andrew Tate, people like what's that other guy, I think his name's Emmett or Avery, you know, people like what's his face, Kevin Samuels, other guys like that, where, you know, they're discussing these habits of women, or these the mindset, or there's like, they see pictures of them with, you know, they're successful, they got money, they got girls, and, you know, they think to themselves, because social media is a very, very dangerous tool, because it's addictive. And the one thing that they got us thinking in school that really fucked us up is that in order to be addicted to something, that it has to be a drug, and that's completely false. That couldn't be further from the truth. It's almost like gambling, because gambling is another thing that's extremely addictive, but has nothing to do with drugs. But you can take drugs to exhilarate the effect of gambling, if that makes sense. And some people see these influencers on social media, and they honestly think, you know, why isn't my life as good as theirs? And people tend to forget that social media is just as much as a history book is a white nigga highlight reel. Social media is just going to only show you the highest point of that person's life within that day, or within that week, or within that month, whatever given time span in that person's life. No one's ever going to post when they're at their lowest, hey, I'm feeling, some people do, all right, don't get me wrong, but no one's really going to be like, hey, I feel like shit, you know, I feel lonely, I'm not reaching out to my friends, you know, I might not have showered in a couple days, like, you know, I'm in the sunken place, I really need some help. No one's ever going to go out for that outcry on social media and look for it, because it's like that social stigma that you don't want to be publicly embarrassed or humiliated for expressing how you honestly feel on the internet. And that needs to change, because as we're being like pushed, having this new generation of internet being pushed on us, and I mean like the metaverse, being able to have an avatar, changing the clothes, and be more connected to the digital realm than the physical realm, this is very dangerous. Because what if people, you know, you're going to start building up lives on social medias in these virtual worlds, and then get kicked off? You know, you might be living, and this happens a lot, like for example, VR chat, well, that's more current, where you might be completely lonely and depressed in person, but when you hop on VR chat or VR headset and go into this virtual world, you feel like you're the shit. Or maybe you have friends in there, you know, take away that feeling of loneliness, and that's fine. But what if you get banned? That's a whole nother discussion for another topic. Point is that you shouldn't go out and expect that another person can come into your life and not make you feel the feelings that you were already feeling before. If anything, it's only going to, like I said, it's going to amplify the amount of feelings that you already felt prior to that person. For example, if you were already feeling happy, motivated, or even, you know, successful before going out and getting a relationship with somebody, if that's a real good relationship and not, you know, something that's not going to last a while, or something that's actually has proper foundation, they're going to make you double up on those emotions that you had. You know, you're going to really feel like, you know, I can do whatever it is that I set my mind to. And that's an important feeling. But on the flip side, if you go into it like, you know, you're depressed, you're sad, and you're like, you know, I'm kind of not upset, you know, I'm kind of at a point where I'm not happy with myself, And, you know, maybe this person can bring this extra aspect of happiness or joy in my life, maybe adventure. And sometimes, you know, it works out, but it's not always common, especially with today's version of relationships and hookup cultures. Nowadays, if you're sleeping around going to relationships blind, most likely you're gonna find somebody that's pretty toxic. A lot of people feel like this due to the lack of feeling like they missed out on teenage love. Now, this is like a little thing that I've noticed in some people's videos where they're talking about, you know, man, I didn't get a chance to go out and maybe take girls out on prom or go on dates or go to the parties. So they feel like they missed out in high school. And how the hell can you feel like you missed out on such a small portion of your life? I understand that high school and being a teenager is a very, very important factor in growing up. But in terms of your entire life, that's such a minimal aspect that some people will really toss their whole life away because they didn't have the best high school experience. Well, maybe it wasn't meant for you to have the best high school experience. Maybe your experience for when you really start to have those crazy moments or moments that you really want, not the moments that you think you want, is after high school. Because honestly, that's when life really starts. I understand that you go to high school or you're going to school from fucking 5 years old to 18, but life honestly really starts at 19, 20, 21 plus. Not even really, honestly, 21 plus. From 18 to 21, it's like the pre-trial era. So you can see, not even a pre-trial, because a pre-trial you can back out of, but this is like a moment of you realizing, dude, life is completely different than how you imagined it was going to be from what they teach you in high school. Especially if you don't go to college. If you go to college, you're under that illusion, maybe a little bit more, with the idea of getting into debt and all that other stuff. But if you just go and straight into the workforce right after high school, that's when you're really hit with the realization, like, dude, I thought I was going to be a millionaire by 25. I mean, it's possible, but then you realize, like, it's not as easy as you think it is. It is easy, don't get me wrong. I don't want to demotivate anybody, but it's not as easy as you think it is. It's more of a, you really, really need to work hard towards it. It's not like a video game where that instant gratification for your dopamine kicks off, where it's like, all right, if I grind for 35 minutes, or we'll be more realistic, if I grind for a week and a half, maybe I might get this, which is true, but it's like, you really, really need to work hard. You can't half-ass it. And that's a problem that I think a lot of us have growing up, is that playing video games, we've learned to half-ass a lot of stuff, outside shit other than what we thought was important, which was playing video games. Like, for example, schoolwork. I personally half-assed a lot of my schoolwork. I just barely graduated. I still graduated, thank God, but like, I did just enough and like learn, like, okay, if I don't do this amount of homework assignments, but I get a 100 on the test, I'm still gonna pass a class. So I was that type of person where I try to like figure out, okay, I can't do this, but I can do this. I still do that to this day with certain things. I'll be like, hey, if I go out and if I fucking, I don't know, I'm supposed to leave at this time, but if I stay a little bit longer, no one's gonna realize I got overtime. Like, you know, certain shit like that, where I try to like figure out what I can and can't do. And that's an important part of life too, because you need that skill. I'll see you guys in another one. Hope you enjoyed. If you like the video, leave a like. If you dislike, drop a dislike. Peace out.